Morning, guys. A little bit windy out here today. I hope the wind doesn't bother you too much. I want to make a little video about this concept of being a spiritual lion. I think it's important right now. We're going through a period right now where we're really being put to the test. We're putting the rubber to the road, and I've been having a lot of thoughts about thinking back about to my jujitsu training that I did. A lot of this is kind of art of war stuff that's going on, and so the first thing I want to talk about is spiritual lions. So Babaji talked about this before, and he said basically, I think it was Charji's book, My Master, but I'm not positive. I might have heard it from Paul, Pockets of the Future, but I can't remember exactly. And he basically was saying that we will attract all types of people to this practice. We'll attract all kinds, but what we really want are the spiritual lions. So what is a spiritual lion? We kind of got to think about what that means, what that entails. And to me, a spiritual lion is someone who is very free thinking, a very much a free thinking person, and someone who's has a high level of intelligence. And that doesn't necessarily mean they have university degrees and things like that. It just means that they are able to use their intelligence and they're able to use their creativity. And they're not stuck in a box. A spiritual lion is not stuck in a box. They're very they can flow, they can move, they can adjust, they can adapt. And so I believe those are the kind of people that move something forward. It's like in any organization, you have a few star players. These are the people who are the leaders. They're solid. They're rock solid. You can always count on them to take. They always show up. They always have they always put their best foot forward. This is what a spiritual lion is, and so we're just in a position right now where we're getting to test our skills. We're getting to hone our practice. That's how I see all of this. It's an opportunity for me to hone my practice. And what I mean by that is, just like this morning, I start getting a little bit anxious and start worrying a little bit, and I can immediately just go, okay, I have a choice. I can acknowledge this stuff and I can go down that path and start worrying, or I can just completely let it go right now. I have the option to run back to Mother. I have the option to surrender this to my master, to my guru, to God, whatever that is for you. And for me, it's Kamlesh. I just let it go to him. It's almost like he's kind of my secretary. He just takes it and files it away. Okay, I just let it go. It's really empowering. It brings me back to center immediately. It lets me let go of the negativity. And sometimes you maybe just have to keep doing it over and over. Like repetitions, like weightlifting. Oh, the thought came back. Oh, let it go again. Oh, the thought came back. Oh, let it go again. And keep doing that over and over. It doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean it's just part of the training, right? We're being trained and conditioned. And I had a bunch of stuff here. I don't know if I'll be able to get through it all, but there was the thought of, I was thinking of this Clint Eastwood character in these spaghetti westerns, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and those different cowboy movies, where he was just this. I think they actually based his character off of the samurai. So he basically was kind of like a cowboy samurai. And samurais have this amazing. They have so much. They really have detachment. So they're able to. Like I talked about before, they have a certain equanimity. They're not fighting the battle to win or lose. They're fighting the battle for honor, for integrity. And if you take that to a really higher level, a really higher spiritual level, I mean, that's all that matters right now. it's so easy to get attached to all the physicalities, but it's really about, honor and integrity and upholding the highest. And that's kind of where we're at right now. We're being forced. Um, the people who haven't made a choice are being forced to make a choice. That's what it's kind of coming down to. The ones who haven't made a choice. And I talked about informed consent. People have not had informed consent. It's like you go to the doctor and they tell you, well, you got cancer. You got 6 months to live, so we need to do chemo. We need to do all these things, and they call that informed consent. That's not informed consent. They don't give you the other options. They don't tell you that, oh, maybe this other method has actually cured more cancer than their method, because they don't even know about this. The doctor themselves is not informed, so how can they inform you when they're not informed? And that happened to me when I got sick. The degrees and the lab coats and all that don't mean nothing. Your own experience is what matters. And that brings me back to, Kamlesh did a talk yesterday on Lalaji's book, and he reads a passage from the book and then he talks about it. And he's been doing that for some months. And I just happened to catch it. It's on every Sunday, like every Sunday morning. And so basically what he was talking about is how important our experience is and how important it is to have experience. And this goes along with being a spiritual lion. That's why I'm talking about it. So, when you have experience, it builds this foundation for you to work off of, versus just having this vague idea. It's kind of like, he used the example when he was a pharmacist. He said they got this prescription one day, and he was pretty new at his job, and he got this prescription, and it looked legal, it looked valid, it was from a doctor's office, it had the patient's name, it had the date, it had all the stuff on it. And he filled the prescription, and a little bit later his supervisor came and said, hey, Kamlesh, this isn't right, this prescription's not right. And Kamlesh was like, what do you mean? It has all the stuff. And he said, well, I just know from experience, this is a fraudulent prescription. And so that pharmacist was able to see, because he had a lot of years of experience, he saw immediately, oh, this is not good. I have, being a respiratory therapist, I've had experiences like that, and I'm sure you all have too in your jobs. We had a patient one night, and one of the therapists called me. This is when I was brand new therapist. I was maybe been doing about a year. And one of the neuro patients was having difficulty. This is like in the middle of the night. So they called me, my coworker called me, and I ran upstairs, and this patient was intubated. They had a tube in there, they had a breathing tube. And it was a young girl. She'd had some kind of head injury. And so, I listened to her breath sounds, and I hear a lot of wheezing. I hear a lot of wheezing in the chest, but, I'm thinking, well, there's air. I wouldn't hear wheezing if there wasn't any air. So, we're kind of struggling. Her oxygenation's dropping, and it's kind of like, oh God, what do I do? And she's got this big wrap bandage thing around her head, so you're not necessarily. It was just one of those things, you just get thrown into a big mess, right? So we call for an x-ray. The x-ray comes, they take a picture, and the second I look at that x-ray, I can see the tube's out. I'm like, oh my God, she's extubated. So I pulled the tube out immediately and started giving her just some supplemental oxygen. And her oxygenation came back up, and everything was fine. And I just felt terrible. I was like, oh my God, I mean, this girl could have died. And this wasn't some old patient. This was a young person. This was a teenager. And I just, it made me sick to my stomach, And I was like, God, how could I not know that tube was out? I heard breath sounds. I just can't believe it. Well, so later on, maybe, I don't know how far down the road, I was in trauma, and I hear a ventilator going off, because I was working in the trauma unit that day. And I go in the room, and the ventilator is alarming, and I listen to the patient's breath sounds, and he has wheezing. And I knew immediately, tube's out, called anesthesia. I started bagging him, took the tube out, started bagging him, and they came and reintubated him. I knew immediately, the second that I heard that wheezing, it was like I never will ever forget that ever again. And that's the power of experience. So we have these, you know, you go through something that's hard, it's difficult, it shakes your foundation, it makes you, oh my God, how could I not see that? How could I not know that? But it's just, you don't know what you don't know. And that's what we're here for. We're here to gain all this experience. I mean, look what's going on right now. We're in the opportunity to see all of this corruption and darkness, and I mean, this is a huge experience we're having right now. We'll never get fooled by this stuff again. And this is what the dark hats, the bad guys, this is what they're so terrified of. Once we wake up, we will not go back to sleep. And in order to become a spiritual lion, we have to go through these difficulties. We have to go through these dark times. We're going through the bad prescription. We're going through the extubated patient that, we just damn near killed because we didn't know what we were doing. We're going through that experience right now, and it sucks. It makes us sick to our stomach. It makes us worry. We're what if this? What if that? Oh my God, panicking. But it's gonna harden our resolve. And don't forget, you guys, we have the base to come back to. We have the source. That's why we do heartfulness. That's why we do this transmission-based practice, because it's directly connecting us to source. Don't forget that. That's the purpose of this whole thing. Oh Lord, thou art the true goal of human life. That's why that's the first stanza of that prayer, because it's the most important thing. Go back to base. Go back to base. When things get crazy, go back to base. And anyway, so it's just it's an opportunity to practice all the things that we, espouse, and all the things that these rishis and yogis and holy people and spiritual people have been talking about for centuries. This is our opportunity to practice it. I mean, we are extremely lucky. We have been given an extremely lucky blessing. Anyway, that's enough. I hope you all have a good day. I love you all, and hold the line. Don't be afraid. Oh, I wanted to tell you one last thing. So I did a transmission to Trump last night. I did a meditation where I imagined him sitting out in front of me, and I imagined giving him transmission, and it was very powerful. It was very beautiful. I just want to let you all know that Daji had talked about that a while back, about we can imagine, like, someone in front of us, whoever, a relative or whatever, out in front of us, and we can give them transmission. So it's pretty awesome. Anyway, hope you have a good day.